So, hey, what in the world is up? This is the Zarkman checking in. And at the time of recording, guys, today is May 31, 2020. And this would be the last day of the Modified Extended Community Quarantine, or MCQ, here at Metro Manila. So, this would result to lowering down to general community quarantine, meaning that we return to our normal lives the very next day, June 1st. And Metro Manila has been in uh, enhanced community quarantine since March. So, if you're like me, I am a guy who got stuck here in the midst of the community quarantine since my province was in or is in Batangas, and I got locked down. So, at the time when operations in my work were ceased, I had no choice but to stay here at this very place for almost 2 months, beyond 2 months to be exact. And at this time, a lot of things have happened, and a lot of it I learned through self-reflection all throughout. No? So, other than shooting other content that you guys may see, or the next set of uploads that will presumably be uploaded to YouTube and Facebook, so don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, Kelvin Zarkman Medina. Yeah, just a shameless plug, guys, because a lot of things will be discussed here. Will be some of the reflections I had for the last 60 plus days. Yeah. So let's get started. So the purpose of this video right now is to share what I learned during the lockdown or the community quarantine here in Manila. And right now, just to give you a context of where I'm coming from, I am now living by myself at this very unit for the past 5 years. So my last roommate actually moved back to China, and as of this moment, I'm the only person in this room. And to the extent, 1 out of 3 people who are actually in this quarter or in this floor. So, what has been the setting for me every day? So for me every day, what I did every day was very routine. So I woke up, I checked my social media. I did a couple of things I haven't done before, and one of which is to look into my YouTube account. So as a result, I'm trying to push out more quality content like that. And other than that, I've been focusing more on just keeping myself sane. So the whole reason why I started the quarantine workout series, which is now available on YouTube as well. You can check the related videos in my channel just in case. So, what have I learned in the midst of being alone for the past 60 plus days? So, first and foremost, I've learned to be grateful, or I've learned to show gratitude to everything or anything that may happen. Since right now, the mandate, or at least the previous mandate for enhanced community quarantine, yeah, I made sure I got it right. So it meant that we should stay indoors. And personally, me, other than doing this, other than doing content, no, as a content creator, I also pursue grad school. I also have a full-time job, and I also do my stint as a competitive eater. So I do competitive eating. I'm always outside the house, or I'm normally outside of the dorm. So I travel all places, and I go to different parts of the country. Recently, before the lockdown, I went to Baguio, so, just to take on a challenge, take a jawbreaker challenge, of course. And what I've appreciated the most when I learned to stay indoors is I was grateful for the rest. Admittedly, when you live a schedule like me, whenever I do a lot of things, whether it's grad school or whether it's work or whether it's competitive eating or other commitments, normally it takes a lot of toll in my body. So Normally, I seem to run the candle on both sticks, or forgive me for the metaphor, but that's what I'm trying to point out. Uh, the problem is I tend to get really exhausted really fast, and what came or what I got from this community quarantine was to actually take some time to rest my joints, to rest my body, any aches and any pains from the past few months, going to the year, I guess. All of that has been treated, or it has been healed. So I'm actually grateful for that, because I'm not really sure when will be the next time or I'll ever get to do this, or I'll ever get to have lengthy rest like this, since normally time off would be 2 days for most people, and if you have mandatory leaves you can take around 5 to 10 days, or 2 weeks on a paid vacation and all that. So as we proceed, I also took the time to reconnect with people, people who I don't want to say I have removed from whatever reason. It's either I don't see them anymore, or it's either they went away, or we just don't communicate, or maybe these are people who I don't talk to that much, because it's either they're busy with their lives and all that. Since given that my age group is actually nearing that 30s age, so a lot of people are actually getting married, and a lot of people are actually starting to have kids, or they're planning to start a family. Some of them already have kids, so it's nice to be able to reconnect with them, at least for this time, or at least while we get the opportunity to right now. Normally, I don't insist on communicating with people, especially if I understand that they're busy. More importantly, I value everyone's privacy. So, if in case that they do get to talk with me, I talk for pleasantries, just for pleasantries. The next item I would like to discuss is the community quarantine actually made me appreciate the things I already have. So, if you're like me and a lot of your routine is located within outside the four walls of your home, so that's either going to school, or working out, or just doing anything. Um, I've learned to appreciate the small things. So I actually live in a building wherein there is no kitchen. So I actually depend a lot of my food on the convenience stores, and I'm grateful that I still have a small rice cooker. The one that I could cook rice with a couple of meals. So if you follow me through my social media, you would see that I actually do a lot of rice cooker hacks, rice cooker meals, because other than I'd like to say they're quirky, but they also are a result of the resources that I have right now. So I'm actually grateful for that. One of the things that I wanted people to know, or at least I want people to see, is that no matter how anxious you get, or no matter like the days or whenever you feel down or unproductive, just feel grateful. Feel grateful. Again, a lot of people are already dealing with very difficult things and scenarios. The least we could do is to be grateful or show gratitude for what we have, because not everybody gets to eat like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, or at least get some kind of assistance from their employers. Some actually don't even have work. Some have been furloughed, like in the US. So I am actually grateful that somehow I also have money. I already saved up for rainy days like this, because I assume that most of the funds that I got are actually intended for grad school. I'm taking up my master's in De La Salle. So as of the moment, since I'm not yet paying my tuition, so I took a little bit of the funds and then I replenished it back. So I'm still grateful for that. At least I don't get to depend a lot on my parents that much since as of this moment, or given my age bracket, we're not supposed to depend that much on our parents anymore. Let them enjoy their money. So I also learned how to be resourceful. So if you've been following me in my Instagram stories or Facebook, my day, and of course when the next vlogs come out for LOTZ, when you see that, you're going to see how I survived for the past 60 days. So especially with me, since I do work out a lot, just to get my appetite running for competitive eating. A lot of my work, or a lot of my daily lifestyle, is actually dependent on outside things like gym equipment, gyms, and of course when you play ball at the basketball courts. But a lot of it during the quarantine is not readily available until it's safe to go out and play and whatnot. So I was taught how to be resourceful. So uh, when there were no dumbbells, or before I ordered a set of dumbbells that I use now, I actually depended on buckets, timba in Tagalog. So those are heavily featured in my quarantine workout. So you can check it out. It's actually one of the things I found very funny when I was recording quarantine workouts, because at the time, no, when I was recording, I tried so hard. I tried so hard to always be grateful, to always keep that in mind. So at the end of the day, when your back's against the wall and you don't have anything readily available to you, that's when your creativity will come out. So then you get to use your resources, things that you normally take for granted. And I'm actually grateful for being resourceful. So it just goes to show that if you're very resourceful with what you have, no, if you play with the hand when you play with the hand you're dealt with, so you become very resourceful, you become very resilient, you have lesser excuses, and you put out so much more results that people would have put out, but then they have any excuse, no. So personally, I am grateful for that. Yeah, taking from the second item, you learn how to be kind to yourself during these times. For everyone or anyone who has been struggling with mental health issues, I know it could be a very challenging time for you as of this time, since it's still the last day of the community quarantine, and at the same time, it would not be certain, like, if we could really go out, no, and do the things that we really want to do, especially under the new normal. So I just want you guys to know that in line with mental health, it's always crucial to check on yourself, to check on people that may be struggling as well. So you may not be able to help them directly, but just to help them, get to know them, or get to know how they're doing every day, whether it's a compliment or it's a greeting, it would mean a lot to them. And I just say this because maturely I have learned to always appreciate, or always take kindness into consideration in everything. So always be kind. You could be rich, you could be smart, but then again, kindness is something that I don't want to say na we take for granted, but you don't see it every day, and we should always be kind. So it's also okay to be unproductive, guys. I think people are so hard with themselves if they feel that they should have done something during the quarantine, or they should have taken like an online class like most people would. But at the end of the day, it's okay not to be productive. I argue that this is the time for you to rest, and I guess the best thing you could do, or the best thing you could be very productive on, is to uh, ease up and rest your body, to regain your energy, You know, we rarely get breaks like this in real life, believe me. And I do hope none of this happens again in the future. But you know, whenever you feel down or you feel bummed that you wasn't able to do anything productive for a day, it's okay. It's okay because I've learned that the best things we could do, the best things we could do it anytime. We just gotta get the momentum to do it. And if not, it's okay. We have to be kind to ourselves. I've learned through the past few days that life goes on whether or not it's quarantine. So, what do I mean by this? What I mean here is that the world doesn't stop, to be honest. The world doesn't stop whether we are in the confines of our house and whatnot, um, life keeps going for the most part. So some people still work. The frontliners they still work. Most people still have to work on their jobs, especially for those who have work from home arrangements. So I've learned that other than that, life goes on. So uh, what do I say? Basing it from I'm going to cite a very specific example, the wrestling community. So as a lifelong wrestling fan, during the quarantine it has been a sucky couple of months, with the mass firings, with the furlough of employees, with the deaths of people from the community, wrestlers, announcers, and all that. And a lot of this, I'm trying to say this very maturely. Whether or not the pandemic has happened or not, it's still real life events that will still happen. So, at the end of the day, life goes on, and it's just hard because we're stuck here. We have nothing to do but to cope, especially with things like this happening. So I've learned that some people still deal with various problems. No, whether you're at rest or not, some people are still battling their own battles, and whatever it may be, just know that I am with you in spirit. So I may not know you, I may not know you personally, I may not know your personal battles, but just know that as long as we still keep fighting, I'm still fighting for myself. So you should always battle. Some people have lost their loved ones even as of this time. Uh, the sucky part or the bad part about this is that some people who actually lost their loved ones never had the proper send off, or they were never able to make funeral arrangements for most of their loved ones because, especially here in the Philippines, I'm not really sure with other countries, but they issued a mandate that every deceased or every remains of a person that has passed during COVID period would be automatically cremated. So no more funeral arrangements, no more final respects. They would be automatically sent to the crematory. So um, it would remove the possibility of any um, infections or any contaminations with the you know what. I won't say it here. Um, but yeah, I also learned that whether or not, uh, again, whether or not there is a pandemic, it still happens in real life. So it's just hard because some people who have loved ones or people they're close to who passed away, a lot of them they never actually got to say goodbye to. So I base this on personal experience as well with some people I know. Some people are very close to me. Um, I, I'm still at a loss for words now. I'm losing. I want to say vocabulary or appropriate vocabulary to talk about this. But because of what has happened or what has transpired, um, we have no choice but to accept things and move on. We grieve in our own times, but we keep moving forward, even for the people who have left us behind, or even the people who have left this earth. I'm sorry. And um, a lot of those things I personally reflected on by myself. But one of the things I want to ask you guys is that as we face the life after the enhanced community quarantine, can we ever go back to normal? Or should we usher in this era of what we call the quote unquote new normal? Honestly, I don't know what to expect. I don't know how things will change or if things will be drastically different from what we're used to. What I know is that one thing, we as human beings, we persevere. Human beings as persevering or people who endure a lot of things, we as human beings, we persevere. So at the end of the day, whether it's big problems, small problems, and whatnot, we persevere. And that's important. So if you were to tell me whether it's a new normal or whether it's an old normal or can we ever go back to normal, I don't think it matters. I think what matters is that we often dust ourselves up when we get down or we fall down, and we always move forward. We always move forward. I mean, whether we like it or not, at our own pace, whether how fast, how slow, how big, or how small, we keep moving forward. That's the most important takeaway from all of this. So, alright, so that wraps it up, guys. Those are some of the things I actually learned from the enhanced community quarantine, or at least in my quote unquote meditation or in my solo time. So, if you guys have other varying opinions regarding this, or do you have any violent reactions or comments or suggestions for this, please do comment down below. I would love to hear it from you. I would like to continue this discussion even after this video comes out. So, just in case, I do hope that you guys are still staying sane, and I hope you guys are still staying safe. So, if you like this video, guys, you know what to do. So, give it a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget to share it to your friends. Of course, follow me on social media, Kelvin Zarkman Medina. So that goes for Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Yep, I also have Snapchat. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do enable notifications to be informed whenever a future upload happens. Right, guys? So that wraps it up for this post ECQ reflection, this post sharing. And I would love to hear from you guys. What have you learned during the ECQ? So comment down below, and I'll see you real soon to the next vlog.